Good morning, Florida exporters. Good morning, companies and trade experts. We're delighted that you could join us today. Thank you all so much for joining. We realize you're all up to here with webinars, so it's really precious that you've joined us today to talk a little bit about online business development tools for Florida companies, the Florida Online Global programs, and what the Miami World Trade Center can offer with that. And we're also delighted to have some Florida companies talking to you today about some of their online global experiences. So just while the last of you are logging on, I'm going to sort of introduce ourselves briefly. So just say who we are. If I can get my mouse to work, here we go. There we go at last. So we're delighted to have Alice Ancona here today from the World Trade Center Miami. Alice brings lots of knowledge of the international environment and all the services that can be brought to you via the World Trade Center Miami. Alice is going to be outlining some of those services later on, and do drop her questions and reach out to her and to her team if you have questions. We're also really delighted to have Leticia Menzzano with us. She's the marketing branding specialist for Timilon and Enviroclans, Florida company, who I was going to talk a little bit about their experience with the Online Global program, but also why choose international markets? Why choose websites for those markets? What kind of marketing do you need in those kind of markets? And where do you go internationally with online business development tools? My colleague Chris is joining us today. Chris, based in Fort Lauderdale, International Business Development Manager at IBT Online, and also has lots of experience and time dedicated for you that you should reach out and if you have questions, if you want assistance in all the online world. And myself, my name is Susanna Hardy. I'm Chief Content Officer at IBT Online. And I'll be creating questions. Again, please drop any questions you might have into the chat box as we go ahead. A very brief explanation about IBT Online itself. IBT Online, we're a private company, U.S. company. We have our main office in Florida, but also in Chicago and Michigan, and then a couple of offices in Europe and elsewhere. We are 100% focused on online tools. So 100% focused on websites and online marketing for going international. So we're international online. That's our tool. And we are very, very proud to have developed something called the Online Global programs, which are available across several US states, including the state of Florida. They are available for STEP grants, and we can talk about those in a while. This is a program designed for mid-cap companies who want to go international and make use of websites and online marketing to reach out and reach out across their international markets, help their distributors in place, help generate leads in international markets, and so on. So that's the kind of thing we'll be talking a little bit about later as well. And make sure if any of you have any questions or have any interest in it, we're happy to jump in on that. By the way, we're very proud also we've won the President's E Award last year, which is a recognition for U.S. companies helping U.S. exports. So our agenda today, we've really sort of focused very much on these online business development tools. First, we're going to have Alice talking a little bit about the World Trade Center Miami and the services that are offered there and what you can expect from the WTC here in Miami. And then Chris is going to talk about sort of, why do we think Florida exporters need online business development tools? Then Leticia is going to talk about her experiences with Timilon and how they decided to have international websites, how they decided to look at the marketing for those, which markets have they, how do they go about the whole process, and that'll I think be a very interesting experience and relational for you all to listen to. Then I'm going to circle back and talk a little bit about what these international websites mean. What does it mean to have an international website? What are they? What is this so-called website localization, both for the website and for the online marketing? And then at the end, we've saved some time for Q&A. So, you know, we hope that this is a benefit for you, of use for you, a resource, and please make good use of it and take advantage of it. Take advantage of your time with us and any expertise we can help you with. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Alice, and she can talk us through a little bit about the World Trade Center in Miami. Alice?
Thank you, and good morning. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today to talk to you a little bit about the World Trade Center Miami and who we are. The World Trade Center Miami is a member of the World Trade Centers Association, so the brand may be familiar to many of you. It is the preeminent global trade organization promoting two-way trade. There are over 330 World Trade Centers located across 90 countries with a total membership of 2 million corporate members and associates. So we are a member of that larger, broader global network working to promote two-way trade. The World Trade Center Miami is Florida's oldest global trade organization. We've been in operation since 1971, and we actively work to facilitate international commerce in Miami-Dade County and also throughout the state. We do have a lot of partnerships across the state, and one being Enterprise Florida, which some of you are very familiar with, and I know IBT Online works very closely to. How we do this is through trade shows, missions, special events, and educational programs, as well as other forms of assistance such as counseling. And, you know, we're happy to be part of the webinar today, which is another tool that we're happy to partner with IBT Online to help companies with their internationalization efforts. We are going to be undertaking our first trade mission to Mexico next month in June, the 19th through the 24th, where we're helping connect Florida companies with opportunities in Mexico. And we have two trade shows, one being the America's Food and Beverage Show, which is going to take place here in Miami Beach Convention Center, September 12th through the 13th. IBT is a partner with us on that show, and we'll be working with a lot of the exhibitors in preparation for that show as they look to make the most of their experience at a trade show in September. We're expecting over 400 exhibitors as part of that show from across the world. We have pavilions from the UK, Argentina, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Brazil, as well as our largest pavilion, which is the USA Pavilion. A little bit more about the World Trade Center. We are organized as a private, not-for-profit organization, and we do have a board of directors that helps us with our efforts and guides our mission. And really, our mission is simply stated to promote international trade and enhance trade and commerce by creating and expanding international business organization opportunities, particularly for small and medium-sized businesses. A little bit about Miami World Trade Month, what I think you saw on one of our slides earlier. The month of May is designated as World Trade Month here in the United States. Since 1938, the United States has recognized the month of May as World Trade Month to celebrate the importance of international trade to the U.S. economy. And for over 25 years, World Trade Center Miami has been the organizer and promoter of Miami World Trade Month to build recognition and awareness and to highlight the role of international business and trade in our region. So that's why, in part, this was an important step in doing this webinar, is also highlighting the importance of international trade during Miami World Trade Month. So I'll be in the background listening in the webinar. If anyone has any questions, I know you have my information on the screen, and happy to answer questions either at the end of the webinar, or if you want to reach out to me afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Alice. Before we pass on to Chris, I just wanted to ask if amongst the audience, amongst the people, if anybody's actually already reached out to WTC in Miami, if you've already taken advantage of some of the services offered. So there's a poll there, you know, to click on, you know, if you go and see Alice, Ivan, Charlotte, the team at World Trade Center Miami regularly. Have you done it occasionally, or if you're looking forward to doing it soon? So if you're, and I can tell you, it's very interesting. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for being so reactive and clicking on that. The majority of you are occasional users, and there's some people who are looking forward to joining soon. So that's thank you very much. I'm going to close the poll, but thank you again for voting so enthusiastically and promptly. And then let me move on to sort of why we think Florida exporters would benefit from online business development tools. Chris, perhaps you could take us through that.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Susanna, and thank you again, Alice, for that wonderful introduction and really being able to cover some of those aspects of World Trade Month and WTC Miami. Of course, as Alice mentioned, we've had a great relationship, and we look forward to being able to continue to work with WTC Miami. And of course, for those of you that have not yet reached out, 100% definitely recommend, and looking forward to that as well. But yeah, so such as Susanna mentioned, what I'll go ahead and cover today is why Florida exporters need online business development tools. But to go ahead and start, really, I want to set the foundation there for some trends that we've seen, especially in the more recent years. So, in years to come, we'll look back at 2020 as really the moment that changed everything in terms of online, in terms of course, the trends that we have here. Nowhere else has there really been unprecedented and unforeseen growth that's occurred in the digital and e-commerce sector, which has really boomed amid the COVID-19 crisis. So really, the internet has become truly ubiquitous, impacting all aspects of everyday life. This has really emphasized that notion of what we like to call the digital divide, the notion that not having internet access or not having the right online tools is a handicap, especially to small and medium-sized exporters that are looking to reach those new markets internationally, to find more avenues to sales, to find more avenues to growing that top line. And actually in 2016, the UN declared the internet access a basic human right, which really was highlighted in 2020 to 2021. So here we have a couple of those turbocharged existing trends. So these include things such as e-commerce, work from anywhere, AI, data privacy, and specifically green as well. So these are really growth chargers that have really driven this new market that we're seeing today. So on this next slide, we have two messages that I really want to highlight here specifically. So these are data on overview of internet use in January 2022, as well as overview of social media use. So again, just laying that foundation. So the first message I really like to cover is just how many people are online across the globe, including 62% of the world's population, or about 4.95 billion people, are online as of January 2022. Pre-pandemic, it was about 4.3 billion, by the way. And of those 4.95 billion online, 4.62 billion are on social media, so nearly 60% of the world's population. It's worth repeating again, 4.8 billion people spend 7 hours a day online. So this is great news for exporters. You know where everyone is, you know how to reach them. All your clients, prospective suppliers, distributors, they're all online, and you can reach them via social media platforms. Perfect. So when we look at core business development tools, we don't have to make it too complicated. There are basically two interrelated pieces, which we have here, your website and online marketing. So there was a time where it was just okay to just have your basic core domestic website and to make sure your webmaster or IT person optimized it every once in a while. Sort of like a annual spring cleaning for the search engine. It was enough to publish a blog a year to get top ranked on page 1 of Google. But now that everyone has a website, and as we've mentioned, we've really seen those turbocharged trends. Things are much more competitive, and over the last year or last 2 years has become even more so. So really, you still need a good core website, and really still need the search engine optimization. But now the SEO has to be regularly checked and freshened up. So a blog a year no longer cuts it. You need regular online marketing, like structured social media outreach campaigns, of course, to make sure you get found, understood, and easy to do business, both in the US and internationally as well. Perfect. Okay. So on this next slide, we have a couple of examples of some of these best practice website localizations, as well as e-commerce. So obviously, as you can see, websites come in all shapes and sizes, from light brochure sites to content-rich e-commerce enabled websites. And marketing can also take a variety of forms. So it should all just be tailored, not just to your budget and sales objectives, but also to the specific target markets that you're looking to address. This gets really important when you use websites and marketing internationally, as you need to make sure that, of course, those international markets, you're able to cater to them and to make sure that you're giving really the client the value that they're looking for. Susanna will go a little bit more in depth on the website localization as well as some best practices later on in her section. Awesome. But what I'd like to go ahead and switch over to is really why do Florida exporters need online business development tools specifically? So on this next slide. Perfect. So in a world where everything is really seemingly in short supply, the online world can help you connect with future clients, employees and suppliers who are searching online for you in their local online environment. This includes things such as search engine and language. There's never been a better time for SMEs to really get on board when it comes to online and really be able to take their business, take their sales, take their marketing strategy to the next level. Especially this new normal, access to effective online business development tools is essential, of course, to be found, understood, and easy to do business with in those target markets as well. All right. And then just a little bit about the benefits of the Florida Online Global Programs. And to this effect, IBT Online and of course our state partners such as Enterprise Florida and WTC Miami have partnered to deliver the online global programs, which have been carefully designed and show measurable success, as I mentioned, to get found, understood, easy to do business with. And this is really done by understanding and adapting to international buyers and their journeys, which we'll go into a little bit more in the next section. The goal of the programs is simple: to really create the sales funnel that drives top line revenue, grows your export sales brand and business into those target markets as well. All right, perfect. So I will go ahead and hand it over to Leticia from Timilon, who will be speaking about specifically their online global success story and how EnviroCleanse is done through their .eu and .de websites as well. Leticia, over to you.
Hi, Chris. Thank you guys. First off, I would like to apologize. My camera is not working today of all days, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm here. So like Chris said, I do take care of all the international marketing and communication here at Timilon Corporation. We are based in Bonita Springs, Florida. This is where our headquarters are. And we do have a few brands under our names, but today we'll be focused on EnviroCleanse specifically. So Timilon has a patent earth mineral technology that was originally created to destroy and decontaminate chemical warfare agents. I know this sounds like a lot, but it really is. It just means that we have this patent technology, and then we decided that it was time to bring this really great technology that has proven to work in military settings, in hazmat settings, to other applications. And that's where we created EnviroCleanse. You guys can see here on the screen, this is our US website. We have laundry and surface products as well, lines, but in Europe, we decided to focus on the indoor air quality products. You guys can see here a few pictures of the EnviroCleanse air purifier systems. As you guys may know, with the pandemic, of course, indoor air quality was really highlighted. It's always been an issue. We always say we really care for the food we eat, for the water we drink, but we never really think about the air we breathe. And I think with the pandemic, people were more aware of it, and not only the consumers overall, but also businesses, because in order to reopen their doors, they had to really go above and beyond to put safety measures in place, and indoor air quality was really a big one. And this trend was not only happening in the US, obviously, it was all over the world. So that's when we started doing some market research and decided that the European market, more specifically, of course, the UK, which is a huge market and they speak English, we also decided to go with Germany because they are a really big player. And you know, the numbers don't lie. The market share for both of these countries are really big, and they tend to grow. Until 2027, the growth is about 8% in the air purifier market. So we're really in in the right space. And then when we found IBT Online, they offer really great programs for Florida companies. And then we decided to take on not only our internal expertise on all of this market research we had done and where we wanted to be, and take their local expertise in each of these markets to help us build our online website. So here on the left, you're able to see a little bit of our EU website. It is all localized for English-speaking countries in Europe, so the UK, Ireland, the Scandinavian countries. And then on the right, you will see it's basically a copy of the website, but localized for Germany specifically, because Germany was a huge market. And it is really important that European consumers feel like you care for them, right? So since the German market was such a big market for us, it was really important that we had this website in Germany specifically, because then they feel, it appeals more to them as well. So whenever we put the websites up, they all have e-commerce stores as well, so customers can buy directly from the website, which is great. We decided it was time for us to move on to the marketing strategy, right? So you put an website out there, you need to bring people to your website, and IBT has done a really great job because, like I said, they do have this local expertise for each country in Europe. And then first we did a research of where are the consumers in Europe? What platforms do they access to buy? Where do they go if they have an issue or if they're looking for something? And then it's very similar to the US with a few different, for example, in the US, Facebook sometimes is more used for top of funnel, and then Europe it can be a little bit different. And IBT Online was really big, a really big help for us on that. And so here you guys can see a little bit, some of screenshots of some of the ads we're running right now on Instagram and Facebook, because we really saw these two platforms as being big platforms in English-speaking countries in Europe. And it was very helpful to us that IBT really put it all together for us, helped us. We did all the market research together, the audience research. This has been very helpful. And then we also bring some organic traffic to the website as well through keyword optimization throughout the website, on keyword optimization on blogs, for example. So this has been really helpful. We also have our LinkedIn and Twitter platforms, which don't run ads right as of now, but we plan to, hopefully in the future, especially on LinkedIn, because we do a lot of B2B market sales. And LinkedIn is really helpful basically right now in Europe to help us build our brand, because we are very well established in the US, but we need to bring this reputation over to Europe. And it is a very important part of the marketing funnel for us right now. So it's been great. We had a lot of success with the ads so far, so we're very happy with that. Just bringing that traffic to the website. We're starting, but we are very happy where we are right now. And the European market can be a little bit hard to tackle since it's so many languages. They're all very close together. You have to do a lot of research in each country, but when you have those localized teams to really assist you on, hey, this works here, this image would work, this color would work, it's very helpful for us that we are in the US. It's very helpful for us to have that insight and that expertise.
Leticia, I know we're going to save questions till the end, but there's just one question which I think we're going to address now, which might be interesting for you, is just a question that's come in, said, who writes the content for it? Is that who does the content of it? Are you giving that to IBT to do, or are you doing it? That might be the additional.
Great question. So right now, IBT does the content for us for social media. We do receive the content calendar beforehand. We approve it all. We have to make sure to look through everything. Sometimes since our product is very technical, so we do have to fix a little, sometimes it's just the way we say things. So we have to approve it beforehand. And then for the blogs, we write the content, and then IBT localizes and optimizes the blogs for us.
Okay, great. And Just while we're here, Leticia, because another question's come in this time from Christopher saying, does Timilon, do you ship your products from the USA or warehouse them in the UK and Germany?
Great question. So we do produce most of our products in the USA, and then we warehouse them in 3PL warehouses overseas.
Thank you very much. We're going to save the rest of the questions till later, but those are just sort of, actually, it's always interesting. Once you have one person asking a question, suddenly there's a whole stream of them. So keep them coming. Leticia, thank you very much indeed. And there's a whole bunch of more questions for you coming up. So that's a nice conversation. I'm going to just continue a little bit and talk a little bit about what we mean by these international websites. So what does this localization mean, actually? And the real question is, well, I've got this great Florida, USA website. Why can't I use that website? And basically, it's because of the way the internet is structured through search engines, which always take the view of the searcher. So they'll ask the question, is that USA, Florida website relevant for that person who's searching in German on google.de in German and using different keywords and maybe it's not relevant. So the internet's a competitive place right now, and you need to make sure that you show Google or whichever search engine you use or think of, because they're all based on the same premise. You make sure that that search engine thinks that you are the most relevant company website for the specific question in that market. So if you're an exporter and you're targeting Germany, Japan, the GCC, Mexico, you need to make sure that your Mexican buyer, prospective buyer, is, how are they looking? How is that buyer persona looking for your products? Are they looking in your language? Probably not. Are they looking on google.com? Probably not. So a lot of questions go into making a website relevant, and that's why you can't just have one website. It's one website per country. Just think of Google. It has 192 different Googles. So here's a silly example. Chris sitting in Miami. I mean, I have a dog who always barks at webinars, so I'm a bit embarrassed about this. So I said, okay, I got to find a squeakless dog toy to entertain my dog while I'm on a call. And I'm actually sitting in the UK. So I go to google.co.uk. Chris goes to google.com. And we type in the same thing, squeakless dog toys in both. So it's both on Google, same words, really both in English. We get results. Chris is getting chewy.com, freedompullharness.com, amazon.com. I'm getting barksandbunnies.co.uk, timeforpaws.co.uk, even amazon.co.uk. So different results, because Google, where I'm sitting in the UK, does not believe that chewy.com or Freedom Pull Harness is relevant for me. So that's just a silly example to show you what it means to look different, to look at where you are in different markets. Obviously, one of the key things that make that difference are the actual keywords that you use. So the keyword is the word that the searcher types in, probably in their language, probably what they're used to using, and so on. So here's just an example of a keyword, car in Spanish. Is it auto or is it coche? Depends where you are, depends what market you are. So if you are a US company that is involved in the automobile sector and you're targeting Spain and you're using the word auto, well, you're really, making life hard for yourself. Only 9% of people in Spain use the word auto when they're searching for things, for cars. They use the word coche, and quite different for Mexico. So, there's a lot that goes into making these localized websites. On this one slide here, I've listed sort of the 10 big criteria that make up a localized website. You'll note that language and correct translation is one. What's actually really important are all those other 9 ones as well. the right domain name, the right regulatory environment, compliancy, the mobile enablement, the multilingual navigation, the right CMS, so on. So a lot goes into making these very much localized websites. But in each case, they are always, always, always customer-centric, searcher-centric. That's what localized means. This is kind of a fun way of checking to see whether your website is relevant for a market or not. You go onto the analytics, go into the destination acquisitions. This is a screenshot of a website that is targeting Mexico. So out of the, 10,000 hits to the website, 9,000 come from Mexico. And and the rest are all Chile, Colombia, and a little bit, tiny bit from the US. So Google is saying this website is extremely relevant for Mexico, and which is good news because it was built that way. So that's a nice way of checking to see whether your website, whether Google thinks that your website is relevant for that market, is where the acquisition is coming from. And Chris mentioned earlier, we have these Florida Online Global programs for companies, which is where we build these international websites, and there is support for that. There's a grant program in Florida, and we would really recommend that you, if you are interested in this, that you take contact and find out more about the grants and find out more about what kind of, discuss with us what kind of websites you'd want. On a redesign, do you want huge websites, e-commerce enabled, brochure sites, distributor sites, all those things that Chris mentioned earlier, these different types of websites you can have for international markets. In each case, they are lead generator websites. That's what websites are really for, in a way, for companies. And they are there to help your business grow. Just in terms of the different types of websites, obviously here I've got a screenshot of some e-commerce enabled ones as well for different markets. They can be a bit trickier, but each case as well are followed up by marketing, which in today's world seems so very essential as the internet becomes competitive. I wanted to ask you all, I'm just going to launch another poll here. I wanted to ask you all, if you have an interest in learning more about these Florida Online Global programs, and if so, let us know. We can send you some emails or send you, point you in the right direction in terms of ebooks or infographics and assets that it can help the discussion and help the learning process. So if you do have an interest, just let us know. And again, thank you all so much. You're just click on the button really quickly. Thank you. I appreciate that. And almost all of you vote, which is even better. Always good to see that. I'm going to close that poll now, and we do have, I think, just one more poll left. There's quite a few questions that come in at this time as well, and I will get onto those questions. I'll save the questions to the end. So just then, sort of rounding up on marketing. As we said, they sort of like a hand in glove thing these days. Your website plus marketing, it's hard to do that. Otherwise, we find that manufacturers, and EnviroCleanse, Timilon is a great exception, but a lot of manufacturers tend to say, oh, marketing, that's really for consumer goods, maybe not for me. And this marketing stuff, no. But if you look at it, the internet is such a competitive place these days. It's very hard for your website to really perform and punch above the crowd without a little bit of assistance. And marketing doesn't have to be, it's not just sort of on there are a lot of platforms out there which are made for B2B. And we can see, Facebook, but YouTube, for example, and LinkedIn are fantastic platforms for manufacturers, as are Facebook and Instagram as well. And then in different markets, different platforms. For China, it's going to be WeChat and Weibo and Youku. So again, lots of different scenarios and possibilities on the marketing side. But I think one of the key things to know in each case for the websites and for marketing is one of the first steps is identifying that international buyer persona. And I've listed a couple of questions here about you should ask yourself when you're looking on your international markets about your buyer persona. In what way is the international buyer persona different from your domestic buyer persona? Perhaps your distributors are in fact buyer personas. How does that buyer persona, international buyer persona, find you, interact with you, and engage with you? Is it going to be the same way as your domestic one? Possibly not. In what way are those journeys, those buyer journeys, different? I wanted to share a screenshot here of this is a L'Oreal USA, which I found interesting. It's this image. L'Oreal, of course, do hair products, so everyone's got great hair. But all these women on the top floor, they're all very engaged. They've got their own computers. And there's just some subtle differences if you go to the different markets. This one here is L'Oreal Brazil. It's more casual. The outdoors are indoors. They're not on the top floor. They're right on the harbor front. It's just a different feel, and the message is slightly different as well. This is all about, L'Oreal Brazil is for all Brazilians. It's inclusive. So the message is subtly different as well. Same company, it's the same brand guidelines. It's just subtle differences. And again, just sort of an last example, sort of Mexico, L'Oreal Mexico. This incidentally is the only one with men in it. And as a L'Oreal, everyone's got great hair again. But again, it's sort of subtly different, and the messaging is slightly different as well for that. So there's a recognition from L'Oreal about their different buyer personas and a reflection on their website of who those buyer personas are in the different markets for that. Buyer personas also react differently on different social media platforms in different markets. So this is an ad we ran for a company in the UK and in Mexico. And it was pretty well the same ad. Obviously Spanish and English, and obviously different keywords, and it was tweaked and so on. But nonetheless, it was the same ad, same platform, same time period, very, very, very different results. We were actually quite pleased with that. 1,200 engagements in the UK. The UK can be a bit frosty, so 1,200, we were very pleased. And then we looked at Mexico and thought, oh, we've got 20,000 engagements. Fantastic, we're doing really well. But a lot of that is the vanity side of it. It looked to us as though Mexico would be very different results. But in fact, if we look a bit closer, we can see that look at the other analysis, what goes beyond the vanity ones. The blue and red columns are the vanity metrics. That's how many sessions, how many likes, how many shares. But in terms of conversion, that's the yellow and the green. Where do I buy? Buy now, contact me, lookup guide, and all those things. That's a conversion metric. And they're almost the same. So, that's how a buyer persona reacts differently in different markets. We know that it takes 20 times the engagement in Mexico to get the same conversion as you get in the UK and Mexico. So that's an interesting way of how people react differently in different markets. And this is typical of a lot of Latin America and mobile first markets, Southeast Asia as well. So it's an interesting example. Again, just one slide to show you some of the best practice, some of the things that we feel are really important for online marketing. Obviously, know your buyer persona in those international markets. They will and probably are different from your domestic buyer persona. And therefore, their buyer's journey is going to be different. So that example I gave you about Mexico and the UK. Always set your goals and measure them. That's clear. And I think the very first message is have a localized website. It's no good starting an online marketing path if you don't have a place for people to go. You might be getting the brand recognition, you might be getting the comments. Where do they go? They have to have a localized market website in order to have as a springboard. As Leticia was saying earlier on, they built first an EU and a German website and then did the marketing in order for people to then go to someplace which is a friendly place for them to go onto. So if you're doing German marketing, onto a German website. EU marketing, onto an EU website. There are lots of examples of Florida companies using international websites, and whether it's for the GCC or for Germany, for Canada, for Mexico, lots of different ones, and so on. And I will launch my last poll here. How about that? Just again to ask if any of you have an interest. Where's that poll? There it is. In the international online marketing, and if so, let us know. And again, we can show you some resources if you want to have a discussion about it. If we can happily schedule a call, or else send you some resources to look at, and to help you make decisions about which markets, which kind of platforms, and so on. So again, thank you very much for that clicking of the polls. And I am gonna just close that poll, and then just sort of summarize on the takeaways. And then we do have some questions that have come in. So just sort of final takeaways. I think that slide that Chris highlighted, I think, is one of the ones that we wanted to bring back to your attention. Why we think Florida exporters would benefit from online business development tools. It's, the world is online. As Chris was showing earlier, 5 billion people of the world are online for 7 hours a day. 4.5 of them are using social media. I mean, that's amazing. So that and if you're a mid-cap company, that's a great way of reaching out and connecting with your prospective buyers, and supporting your international distributors. Give them the online tools they need to build your sales. And you guys in Florida are very, very lucky. You've got a very active World Trade Center. You've got a very active economic development agency through Enterprise Florida. They are there to support you and your exporting journey, and really, really reach out and discuss with them, get to know them. They are there to help, and these Florida Online Global programs have been designed for you. So with that, we've got a whole bunch of questions that have come in. I'm actually going to start. There's a couple. I think I'm going to start with Chris, if I may. There's two for you, which are both about the Online Global programs. The first is, for the Online Global programs, am I contacting you at IBT, or should I be contacting the WTC, or should I be contacting Enterprise Florida? Chris.
Absolutely, yeah. None of those are the wrong option. I'll start with that. So, but in terms of reaching out, yeah, more than happy to go ahead and talk a little bit more about our online global programs. Of course, we can go ahead and connect you to Enterprise Florida to speak about the grants as well. And Alice is here as well with her contact information. But really, in terms of going more into the specifics of the online global program, my contact information is there. More than happy to book a meeting and really go more in depth into really what it entails in sort of that best practice website localization.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. And also, Chris, how long does this grant process take? How long does the grant process take?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, really, it goes through Enterprise Florida, and as long as you're approved, it takes a few days to get through, and of course have the approval from their side. The grant does last. It's an annual grant, so it does last for a year as well. And at that year's end, of course, reapplying to make sure to get the grant as well. But again, in terms of how long it takes, it doesn't take much more than a week or two at most, really just to get you through approved and make sure that everything checks out.
Thank you. Leticia, a question for you as well. Just it's rather open-ended question, but just what were the biggest challenges that you found with the websites and with the online marketing on those two markets for Europe?
That's a great question. I think just getting it out there, you know, when you're starting in a new market, it's always hard for you to understand in the beginning. It's always hard for you to actually understand what works and what doesn't. Why is this picture not converting? Like sometimes it would be like, okay, this ad, for example, this graphic did really well in the US. Let's try it out there. So we tried in the UK and it didn't have as many clicks as they had in the US, for example. So we're like, well, why is it not working? So it really it depends on what works with them, and it takes a little bit of time for you to really understand the audience and what they're looking for, especially what their concerns are, because sometimes it's different, you know, like in the US, maybe the biggest concern is with indoor air quality at home, and then in the UK the biggest concern is with indoor air quality in your office, in the company. So it really comes to really understanding the audience and who we are appealing to in each market. So that's definitely been the biggest challenge. We're still learning. It's all new to all of us, but you know, having the IBT team, they've done it with other companies. So having them really helping us, oh, we think this is not working because of this. So we usually ask for the recommendation, and it's been a successful partnership so far. But it's really just the beginning. It's challenging just understanding what they're looking for and what their pain points are. But we're getting there. So.
Right. And Leticia, any advice on how often you look at your keywords?
Oh, wow, good question. I think with our industry, for example, it also depends on seasonality, right? So for example, this is spring. When spring's coming, spring cleaning is a big thing, not only in the US, also in the UK. So this is something that we know to always look for around springtime. So we really look at the seasonalities. When winter comes, for example, people tend to have their windows closed, no ventilation. Therefore, they're usually looking to improve their indoor air quality more with extra indoor air ventilation, where the air purifiers come handy. So we look at this seasons, let's say, in our industry specifically, and then every now and then, I would say every month, every 45 days, we also look at competitors, you know, keywords, what they are doing, what are they ranking for, why are they doing it, so we can use that to our advantage as well.
Thank you very much. Chris, slightly related to Timilon and Leticia's, someone's asking, hi Chris, it looks like Timilon are using Shopify. What are the best platforms that you guys recommend for e-commerce internationally?
Yeah, perfect. That's a fantastic question, especially with the more recent trend in the direction of e-commerce. But yeah, Shopify is one of our most used in terms of usability. It's one of the best internationally as well, and one that, of course, that we always push for as well. On top of that, also WooCommerce. So if you aren't familiar with WooCommerce, it is a great plugin for WordPress. Also a fantastic site for e-commerce internationally. So those are really the two that are our bread and butter, and the ones that we suggest when looking.
Right. Okay. Good. We promised everybody that, well, we like to get people back at their desk on time within the hour, and we've got 10 minutes to spare. There's a couple of more questions coming in. Just one that's repeated a couple of times. You will get a recording of this webinar in your inbox by the end of the week, I think on Friday. So there is a recording, and you can share that as well, if just to answer that question. I guess one for Alice. Have you seen, what are the new markets that you're seeing demand in at the moment? Alice, a very broad question as well. The new international market you're seeing.
Yeah, sharing my camera, turning back on. Hopefully you can hear me well.
Absolutely.
So with COVID, there's been a lot of changes with everything in terms of markets, and this could be short-term related, but Europe came back online much quicker than most places around the world. So we've seen a lot more growth in Europe. We were just in the UK actually about a month and a half ago, and it was very dynamic. We were in about 4 cities. While we were there, it was 100% back in business. Everything was humming and roaring. So Spain has also been pretty active. I know there's a group that has a trade mission to Spain right now. So Europe came back and certainly did recover much faster than Latin America and the Caribbean. But there are some select markets in Latin America that are coming back little by little. So the Caribbean lights are beginning to turn back on, and that's heavy tourism dependent. And Mexico never really shut down. So it's still been fairly active. And again, we'll be taking a trade mission down there. So those were just kind of top line on what we're seeing in terms of markets that have been active, and we see a lot of opportunity.
Interesting. We're seeing similar patterns of demand. I don't know, Chris, if you want to answer that, sort of, where is IBT Online seeing a lot of new demand for new markets? Where are we building websites right now?
Absolutely, that's a great question, and sort of going along with Alice as well. We have seen, of course, a lot of development in Europe. Two markets that in particular that we've seen a lot of really business and forward movement with. Of course, with the USMCA, Canada and Mexico as well. So Mexico, of course, for the Mexican Spanish persona, and in Canada, there's really two markets there in a way, and you have your French-speaking Canada as well as the English-speaking. So those are two that we've seen a lot more requests for. Of course, Latin America as well in terms of proximity, and quite a few as well in, so for example, Dubai, UAE, sort of that region as well.
Yeah, the GCC. I would add as well that Southeast Asia seems to be pretty popular, Vietnam especially.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. In that case, there are a few more questions, but they're quite specific and technical, so I think we're going to circle back to you directly and individually on those questions, if I may. And in that case, it just leaves me to give a big shout out and thank you to Alice, especially for stepping in for Ivan, from the World Trade Center of Miami. Do reach out to the World Trade Center of Miami. They're a tremendous resource for you guys. They've got, as Alice was saying, the most experienced one of the most longest established WCC in the state of Florida. You've got Alice's contact details there. Reach out to her if they can give any help, and if you're interested in those trade shows especially. Big thank you to Leticia and to sharing those experiences and how Timilon has been chosen to do these things and why they chose Europe, Germany, and the online marketing for EnviroPlans. Thank you, Leticia, for your time, for sharing those things for us and experience with us. And then Chris, thank you as always for joining us in the webinar and being a great resource for Florida companies. And then most of all, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Florida companies and exporters. We hope you found it useful. And we look forward to seeing you online and offline. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.